What is up, everybody? So, it's time for a little walk and talk action. I feel like probably going to pour on me. It's too cool not to, and it's not muggy, and it's quite overcast, if you can tell. So, you are reading the title to this bad boy. You want the R. Kelly update, and I want to give it to you. So, it looks like R. Kelly is facing charges in both the Eastern District of New York and Illinois. And those are separate charges. He's also looking at racketeering charges and a violation of the Mann Act. So aside from the, trafficking in kids, we now know that they're charging him with, I believe, 4 different videotape performances of a 14-year-old girl. I would imagine that this is probably the same girl from the first trial, as if you were keeping up with the reporting, you knew that some of those videotapes that apparently Michael Avenatti got were of that person. Now, the racketeering charges and whatnot, I have not read the indictment yet. It might be something we're going to do a little bit later. I would assume would not only go against other peoples that enabled it, but the parents themselves. So they're also, it's not even alluding to the fact, it's pretty much come out, especially through that Lifetime series, which they credit for reopening investigations, by the way, that once again Kelly is paid the parents to leave, basically leave while the court case was going on. We got 4 videos. We got a 14-year-old girl. We got 2 different states. We got Homeland Security. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think this is finally it. Kelly's not getting out of this one. And I would not be surprised if we saw more charges in the coming days. So, who knew? Again, less than 24 hours ago, pinch me. I'm no fan of Homeland Security. I still think that it should be abolished. I think the FBI could definitely handle this. Why isn't this an FBI issue? Especially since it crosses state lines. It's obviously federal, and this guy's been at it forever. The other question obviously is, what took so long? What in the world took so long? Oh, it is near and dreary out here, guys. So, moving on to the second part of my title here. Facebook apparently just got fined $5 billion for privacy concerns. Shouldn't shock you. I've talked about it. I've told you. Everything is getting tracked, traced, and databased. Did a story yesterday on ACR, AVR, and ASR software, automated content recognition, automated video object recognition, and automated speech recognition. And although the focus on that was Google, and by the way, other than the thousands of apps that are spying on you through your phone, through ACR, through Google, it's now come out that if you use Google Assistant, and I know a lot of you Droid users do, well, they're taping your phone calls. Or not phone calls, I'm sorry, conversations. Excuse me. I don't want to get that wrong. Conversations. When you're asking it things and when you're not. And over 1,000 conversations got caught. It's a story I think I'm probably going to be doing today, and combining it with Facebook. Basically going to have to pay a $5 billion fine. Now, I'm sure they're going to appeal it, but I think that the truth of the matter is, no matter how many times they appeal these things, they're just going to get worse and worse on the fine end. And by the way, guys, I've been saying this for some time. There are forces at work that do not want Zuckerberg in charge of Facebook for one reason or another. Believe that hype. That's not Jason Burma saying it. Go look at it yourself. Go look at the shareholders that have basically been involved in almost a hostile takeover there since, before even the hearings, both in the United States and in Europe. They want Zuckerberg out. And just because he's a majority shareholder and he's been able to make some moves, they haven't been able to get him out. But I want to remind people, in the very beginning of all this Russia nonsense and propaganda, Zuckerberg scoffed at it. He laughed. He said, well, I really doubt that, people can't make up their own minds. He almost found it insulting. And then what did he have to do? He had to dance to the tune of the mainstream media and say, oh, we take Russian interference so seriously. So we can have bullshit hearings on Russian interference, imagination land, and no one asks them about the real issues that I talk about of automated content recognition, not Russian meddling, but the fact that your device is constantly spying on you, whether you have turned permissions on or off, whether you think that speaker or camera is on or off. Through these backdoor apps, man, you have no idea. And it's the next step in that track trace database society where they run big analytics to build a profile around you. And I promise you, it goes beyond sales. That's just part of it. There's way more data. There's when I say sales, I mean getting you to buy things, because it is all about the economy. All right, now up to the Trumpster. Maybe the other reason some of you guys are tuning into this walk and talk. Now, I notice every time that I do a video that is even slightly critical of anything the Trump administration is involved in or has to do with, I get some backlash. That's okay. I don't expect everybody to agree with everything I say. I think that would be contrite and ridiculous. However, when I read comments about how, you spent 15 minutes on Trump and Epstein today with Titus, and if you haven't seen that interview, it's where we go over Acosta resigning today. I'm probably going to play the entire news presser where Trump addresses Epstein again and addresses Epstein with Acosta as Acosta resigns. But look, right now we're putting out all the information that we know about the Trump and Epstein relationship. And so far, that information, unless you believe the Katie Johnson stuff, and again, the Katie Johnston stuff is questionable, it doesn't go to pedoville for him. In fact, it goes to him working with Bradley Edwards, one of the lawyers for the victims, the person that sued Epstein and won, and possibly doing the right thing. Now, this administration is obviously doing better on this issue than I could have even imagined, a week ago. And I was very critical of 3 weeks ago when the DOJ announced, hey, we're going to let that sweetheart deal stand. So I've given Trump a ton of credit there, a ton. Even discussing the upcoming 2020 elections with Robbie Martin. Robbie Martin, obviously not a fan of Trump. He leans a lot more left. But, I think he agreed with me when we were talking about, did the Democrats have anybody even of substance that could challenge Trump? And they don't. And we talked about, the social media summit, and a lot of people were like, that wasn't what it was about. Did anybody watch it? Did anybody out there watching me right now, other than me? Come on, be honest. Did anybody else watch the 48-minute or so broadcast until they cut it off after the first question? It wasn't even after the first question. In fact, it was in the middle of the first question by, I think it was Gorka, asking the question inside. And again, it was a White House feed. I don't know that any other media organization carried it. But look, if Trump's going to talk about the economy and Golan Heights and Liz Cheney and Scooter Libby and not focus on any of the antitrust stuff enough, not even mention ACR software, it's a problem. And again, when he mentions there's only two sides, it's a problem. So, before people break out their jump to conclusions mat, right? And think that they know what happened at that social media summit, I watched it. And it was him talking about how awesome the economy was, patting himself on the back for having neocon buddies, and I didn't like it. My Twitter followers are down. Donald, that's not what this is about. This is about speech getting squelched. Why didn't you talk about the Google News Initiative and how they are in bed with publications like BuzzFeed and others? It's the same thing with the media focusing on Gorka calling the other media guy a punk. Like, who cares? Why not, when given that opportunity by the absolute fake news media, right? Why not go, hey, Joey B over there, Joe Biden, he met with one of the financiers of 9/11 the week of the attacks. No one ever talks about that. And it's Pakistan. It's a nation that we've never smart bombed. There was no shock and awe. Can you explain that? We want to talk about journalism, but when you talk about Russiagate and Seth Rich, you don't want to talk about Seymour Hersh and his sources and the taped phone call where he says that Seth Rich was in touch with WikiLeaks and had a Dropbox and was asking for money. Didn't see that in the Mueller report. Instead, I saw some nonsense in the Mueller report that basically debunked Assange for even alluding to the fact that he was in touch with Seth Rich. So there was a lot of missed opportunity all the way around in that. At the same time, it is kind of surreal for me to see, you know, Mark Dice out there. Dice a buddy. I like Dice. Obviously, we don't agree as much politically anymore. But, you know, for him to get out there, that's great. That shows that anything is possible. You know, could anybody have thought that Mark Dice, the author of Illuminati Fact and Fiction, Big Brother Fact and Fiction, The New World Order Fact and Fiction, what is it? Now, is it Hollywood and the Illuminati? Yes, Hollywood and the Illuminati, etc., etc. I think the music industry and the Illuminati, I think I did covers for all those, by the way, would be sitting in the White House. I mean, it just shows you with enough work, you can do it too. You can get your voice heard, and that's what this is about. And guys, thank you so much for all the new subscribers. You know, this is our daily walk and talk where we kind of go over some of the stuff we've already gone over and what's coming up. And like I said, I'm going to be doing the James Patterson interview on Fox about the Epstein case. I'm going to probably also be doing the Acosta resignation video with Trump. And obviously an R. Kelly update. And I got a lot to do there because this is video 3. Those will be 4, 5, and 6. And we try to keep it real. Oh, there's Mark Dice live at the Capitol right now. That's what just came up on mine. Come on, Carm. So here's the deal. I'm 100% on my own. And a ton of you have already donated and supported me. And I thank you so much. I have the GoFundMe. But if you're not subscribed, if you want real news, if you want no bullshit, not left and right stuff, this is it. Thumbs it up. Share it. I'll always listen to you guys. I love constructive criticism. I don't expect you to have all of the same viewpoints I do, but I want to let everybody know. When someone does something good, I give them credit. When someone does something bad, I call them out. That's the way the real world works. So guys, I'll see all of you guys on the flip.